Imagine this. You are a soldier in one of the most powerful armies in the world. Around you, tanks, helicopters, and heavy artillery. A heavily fortified base, thousands of troops, floodlights watching every corner. You feel safe, untouchable. But that is where you are wrong. Because at night, everything changes. An explosion, gunfire, screams, tearing through the silence. Then, just minutes later, nothing. Silence. You search the jungle again and again, but there is no one. No enemy, no footprints, no escape route. It feels like they appear from the dark, strike, and vanish. But the truth was far more terrifying. They were never disappearing. They were right there, beneath their feet. In 1966, in the Cu Chi region of Vietnam, deep underground, stretched a hidden city, over 250 kilometers of tunnels, with shelters, weapons storage, hospitals, supply routes, command centers, and a strategy that confused even the United States, built by ordinary people with nothing but simple tools. Farmers who turned the ground itself into a weapon. How did they build it? What was hidden beneath the surface? Today, we uncover the story of the Cu Chi tunnels, a story of resistance, intelligence, and the will to survive. Saigon, the political and military heart of South Vietnam, and just to the northwest lay Cu Chi. From above, it looked like any other village, quiet, ordinary. But in the history of war, Cu Chi was something else, an unbreakable stronghold. But why was this place chosen? The answer lay underground, in the soil itself. The earth of Cu Chi was different, a reddish, laterite soil, not like ordinary mud. When wet, it was soft, but when it dried, it became as hard as brick, strong enough to withstand heavy bomb impacts, even the weight of massive tanks. Nothing could easily collapse it. It was as if nature itself had built a shield for the Vietnamese. But this vast tunnel network was not built overnight. It began in the 1940s, during the war against the French, and later during the conflict with the United States. It grew into something much larger, a hidden underground world. The Vietnamese knew they could not win in open battle, not against modern weapons, not against air superiority. So they made a choice. They used the ground as their shield. No machines, no advanced tools, only shovels, baskets, and patience. Night after night, they kept digging until the earth turned into a maze. Over 250 kilometers of tunnels. And in doing so, they proved something. In war, geography is not just the background. In the right hands, even the ground can become more powerful than modern weapons. Many people believe the Cu Chi tunnels were built overnight just to fight the Americans. But the truth goes much deeper. It began in the 1940s, during the fight against French rule. At first, they were simple, small holes in the ground, used by civilians to hide from bombs, from oppression. But over time, those shelters began to grow, slowly turning into something else, something far more dangerous, a deadly network. So when the Americans entered Vietnam, they were not facing a new enemy. They were facing a system built over decades, an underground world shaped for nearly 20 years. But these tunnels were not just holes in the ground. They were something else, a masterpiece of engineering. The entire network was built in 3 levels. each one with a purpose. The first level, around 3 meters below the surface, used for movement, quick access, hit, and disappear. The second level, around 6 meters deep, designed for protection against artillery, against heavy bombing. And then, the third level, 9 to 10 meters underground, the heart of Coochie, so deep that even B-52 bombers could not reach it. This was not just a tunnel system, it was a world hidden beneath the earth. But the most ingenious part of this system was something else. The trapdoors, hidden between each level, airtight, waterproof. When American soldiers discovered a tunnel, they tried to destroy it, poison gas, flooding it with water. But it did not work. Within seconds, the Vietnamese moved deeper, sealing the doors behind them, making the system almost impossible to destroy. The United States came to war with modern power, but they were not prepared for this. A hidden world built over decades, waiting beneath their feet, because Coochie was not just a battlefield. It was home for thousands of people. The tunnels were dug at night in silence, so no one would notice. And the soil was never left in one place. It was scattered in fields, in forests, anywhere. It would not raise suspicion. The entrances to the Coochie tunnels were just as clever, hidden in plain sight, covered with leaves, grass, bushes, wooden lids. Some were so small they were almost invisible, easy to miss, even if you were standing right above them. And deep below, nearly 9 meters underground, another world existed. Hospitals built in the dark, surgeries performed under candlelight, workshops hidden beneath the earth, where weapons were made from scraps, even from unexploded American bombs. Life did not stop. Down there, people got married, children were born, entire lives unfolded beneath the ground. But one of the most remarkable systems was the kitchens. Smoke could not rise directly above, because even a small trace could bring American airstrikes. So they found another way. Long tunnels stretched for hundreds of meters, carrying the smoke far away, cooling it along the way until it escaped through the jungle or through termite mounds. Faint, almost invisible, impossible to detect. And in that darkness, nearly 10,000 people lived for months without sunlight. The Coochie tunnels were not just underground routes. They were something more, a multi-layered underground system built for everything: movement, hiding, rest, medical care, weapon repair, cooking, secret meetings, supply storage, and multiple escape routes in every direction. This was not just a tunnel network. It was a complete survival system, and its true strength was its versatility. If one tunnel was discovered, it did not mean the entire network was lost. Sections could be sealed, isolated, cut off from the rest. Many entrances were connected, but from the outside, there was no clear map, no easy way to understand it. These tunnels were not just for soldiers. Civilians lived here too, for days, sometimes for months. A kind of life existed underground, but it was not easy. Darkness everywhere, limited air, heat, humidity, insects, disease, and the constant fear of being discovered. When bombs fell, the ground above would shake, and every day the same question remained: would they survive another night? The United States military was unmatched in technology, aircraft, artillery, Surveillance, helicopters, logistics, firepower. In every way, it was overwhelming. But even that power had a limit. It worked best when the enemy could be seen, identified, tracked, when there was a clear front line, a visible target, a position that could be predicted. But here, none of that existed. Kushi broke that logic. Here, the enemy could not be seen. They were invisible, moving, blending into the land itself. One moment, a farmer. The next, a fighter. One moment, above ground. The next, gone, beneath it. And when night fell, something changed. A different kind of fear. Inside the Kuchai bases, American soldiers began to realize something was wrong. The pattern repeated itself. Every day, an explosion, gunfire, chaos for a few minutes, and then silence. The American soldiers rushed in, surrounding the area, but there was no one. No enemy, no escape route, no footprints. It felt like the attackers came out of the ground and vanished back into it. At first, they thought it was guerrilla warfare, using the jungle as cover. But as the days passed, the doubt grew deeper because the attacks were happening in places that should have been impossible. So they began to search every day, sweeping the jungle, digging the ground, but they found nothing until one day, a patrol unit noticed something strange. A small hole hidden beneath leaves. At first, it seemed unimportant, but when a soldier looked inside, everything changed. The hole went straight down, then curved and disappeared into darkness. In that moment, they understood this was not just a hole. It was a door, a doorway to a hidden world, one that had been right beneath them all along. The United States tried everything to destroy the Kuchai tunnels. From the air, they dropped thousands of tons of napalm and Agent Orange, burning the jungle, clearing the land. But the tunnels remained untouched. Then they turned to dogs, German shepherds, trained to detect hidden entrances. But the Vietnamese adapted. They used American soap and pepper. The scent confused the dogs, made them think these were friendly, and the pepper destroyed their sense of smell. Even when they passed right beside the tunnels, they found nothing. Then came water, gas, flooding the tunnels, trying to force them out. But again, it failed. The trap doors, the ventilation system stopped everything. In the end, even the most advanced methods could not break what was built beneath the ground. When heavy bombing failed, the United States made a decision, a desperate one. They created a special unit, the Tunnel Rats. Soldiers chosen carefully, small, thin, just enough to fit into the tunnels. Spaces barely 60 centimeters wide. No rifles, no heavy gear, just a flashlight in one hand and a pistol in the other. And then they went into the dark, where the war changed completely. What followed was not just combat. It was something else, one of the most brutal psychological battles in history. Inside the tunnels, the Vietnamese had prepared something else. Traps, deadly ones, hidden in the dark. Some were simple. A container filled with venomous snakes hung above the entrance. Open the door, and they fall directly onto the soldier. Then the punji sticks, sharp bamboo spikes, coated with waste. Step in, and they tear through the body. Infection was almost certain. The Americans tried to fight back with gas, with water, pumping it into the tunnels. But again, it failed. The design was too precise. The shaped turns, airtight doors, blocking everything. When death filled the upper levels, those below remained alive. For the tunnel rats, every inch felt like a grave, a living one. The darkness was absolute. The air was thin. Some lost their minds. They could hear breathing right in front of them. They could smell the enemy, but they could see nothing. For 9 years, the fighting continued, but the United States never captured the Cu Chi tunnels, never destroyed them. When the war ended in 1975, the network was still there, over 250 kilometers intact. But this was never just a tunnel system. It was something more, a symbol of survival, of resilience, of a people who refused to give up. Billions in technology, the most powerful army in the world, and yet they could not defeat those who fought with nothing but earth and bamboo. After the war, Cu Chi became a living memory of Vietnam's independence. Today, thousands of people visit the tunnels, crawling inside for just a few minutes and wondering how anyone could survive here for years. Because in the end, this story proves something. In war, weapons are not everything. Patience, strategy, and the will to protect one's homeland can overcome even the greatest power. The Cu Chi tunnels were never just tunnels. They were something more, a silent monument to human will, where modern science and firepower fell short. Against patience, against resilience. Today, the forests of Vietnam are quiet, but beneath the ground, if you listen closely, the echoes are still there, reminding us of a different time. Because in the end, this story tells us something simple. It is not power or wealth that wins wars. It is the will to survive. And if you found this story worth hearing, leave a like and subscribe to Erst Documentary for more stories from history. Share this video with someone who should hear it. And until the next story, stay safe, stay curious,